What's going on this morning? What is going on? Just decided to come on because what better than me to join the conversations that are already going on at the moment. So basically, in the Midwest, it's a heat. I was about to say heat wave. It's a cold wave. It is. Yesterday was like minus 20 degrees. I mean, not minus 20 degrees, it was 20 degrees. So it's basically minus Fahrenheit by what? About minus 12 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, right? So, yeah, it's pretty cold. Furnaces is going. Uh, if you got a house, even if you rent a house, your the furnace is going. If it's messed up, you got to call your landlord and hope that your sire that's that sire fixes your furnace. I was thinking about that earlier. Yes, well, like late yesterday. The biggest trick the devil ever pulled, right, was bringing the European monarchy system to America, and people not actually knowing, thinking that they escaped that same monarchy system by going to America. that's like pretty much um very much a lie that people actually believed, that they didn't bring that same type of structure over here, maybe just in different forms. Okay, I've said that before on this channel. They brought that same monarchy system over here. That's why people are so crashed out, right? People don't know what's going on. That's where the wise come in to help people get understanding that they didn't already have. Because where you hitting your head is, and this is why say things that I say, don't really get my voice out that much, because I'm kind of hard, man. I'm a hardcore preacher. Pretty much I get under a lot of people's skin. Like if a good preacher, a good minister or whatever, uh he wouldn't have that many parishioners or whatever, because nobody would want to listen to him. He'd just be hitting like every doggone possible angle of what you shouldn't be doing, and then nobody would want to probably go to his sermon, because everybody will feel guilty. That's me. Okay, that's how I am. And I toned it down a little bit, because at this point I don't really care what people do. And I've said that was my sentiments last year, and it's still my sentiments today. I don't really care who listens or who don't listens or all of that, because at the end of the day, I profit off of people don't listen. Okay, I profit off of people profit off of people crashing out. That's one of the things you got to understand, and I'm sure you already know that people profit off of people being compromised and crashing out. For example, right? So it's just the upper tier society does not care if someone offs their um family or whatever, because someone, the mother of the single mother or whatever, filed child support on her husband or long-term boyfriend. Pretty much upper society doesn't care that the justice system is unbalanced or anything like that, because they already, it's like the whole saying, I care not who writes the laws, as long as I can control physical policy, right? That's basically the ethos behind that, right? So yeah, the elites don't care if you know you gotta you're facing some type of financial duress by proxy of some type of matriarchal control or whatever. They don't care because they the ones that they're shielded from that. Okay, they get a divorce. Okay, they have $100 billion, and they already made $300 billion before they even, have whatever's left of the $100 billion. They because you gotta understand, like, okay, people be like, oh, Elon Musk, he's worth 100 something, but he's been making billions of dollars for decades. So he's got money probably in trusts and all kind of other shit, just tucked away, ducked out. Uh, and the thing is like, yeah, doesn't matter if someone like that files a divorce. It makes headlines and all that, but they already have money. They're shielded from a lot of consequences as far as financial consequences. But like in the words of Chris Rock, if you make $50,000 and you got to file divorce, or your wife files divorce on you, you might have to put her in the back of a trunk somewhere, because he's like, like he said, I'm not about to go live with my mother, um, but the thing is, I'm not saying that you should do all of that. I mean, the thing is that another thing what men do, and what you're finding out with this whole Travis Hunter thing, is a lot of what men do is they put their face in the sand, and just simp out. They put their face in the sand and simp out. They know they simping out, and they just put their face in the sand, and then they just deal with it. Now the young boy is pretty much, I'm not gonna say young boy, young man. Uh, I heard he deactivated his social media because of all of the public pressure and scrutiny of being a public figure, basically. Um, Future possible NFL prospect. His basically his fiance, the whole facts is coming out. She's dotting it up and on social media and shit, and it's like a little video vaults came out. Somebody opened up their iPhone photo history, and basically exposed, let some videos come out or whatever, and he deleted or deactivated his social media. But I mean, the thing is that, like in the Bible, I mean, in Proverbs, I forgot which one it was, but it's on my Facebook page, Broke Genius's Facebook page. um a virtuous woman is worth more than a ruby, the rarest ruby or whatever. So it's like, yeah, I mean, that's over 1,000 years ago, and it still holds today. I mean, you know um there's certain virtues, right, that a virtuous woman would have, and as far as men having wisdom, and obviously what comes from that wisdom a lot of times is some type of, you know financial attainment, or asset attainment, or resources. It's just, resources is an old term, because resources is money. Okay. Assets is money. Okay. Assets over liabilities, to keep it simple. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Okay. A lot of ways you could build up momentum, and the secret sauce is momentum. That's what a lot of people don't understand. They don't get the game of momentum, because most people are on the outside of wealth. Okay, most people are on the outside of riches. We all understand the stats. We understand the statistics as far as who has what and how much they have and all of that. We know those. Those statistics are not quote unquote hidden. You might have to do a little searching for them, but they're there. You know, it's a lot of rich. It's not a lot of rich people. It's not a lot of wealthy people, and it's a lot of people that are, you know, pretty much kind of low wage earners, or just kind of somewhat closer to the bottom, really. But people think that because you're middle class that you're doing well, and that is also one of the tricks that the devil pulled, you know, to make it seem like you know, you're doing fine by being middle class, when, you know, I say on this channel that the middle class ain't what you think the middle class is. Okay, you think this is the middle class. It's not the middle class. You know, just it just obviously it's not, because you got to look at it like this. Okay, if that's the middle class, how is this wealth chart here off the chains, where you got the super elite, wealthy elite, where they're, you know, grossing over $100 billion of net worth, and where is the middle of that? If you don't have to, a pretty smart second grader that understands math understands that $100 billion is way off from $50,000 a year. You know, so this is more or less the true kind of middle class, right? You know, this figure here. This is more close to what the true middle class is, or more accurately what the middle class is. And I know people don't want to deal with reality. You know, women are very, very, very hardcore about that. They do not want to. They do not want to live outside of that fantasy. That fantasy, they want to keep that going, right? They don't want to tell you anything. You know, they don't want to let you know what's going on, because they're gonna have to deal with life, and they don't want to have to deal with life a lot of times. They want to deal with it in their accordance. But when you know, they, you know, let their, you know, husband or long-term boyfriend or ex long-term boyfriend or ex-husband know something, then they're gonna have to deal with it from a different perspective. And then, you know, they don't want to let people know. So, you know, there you go. They don't want to break that fantasy. Okay, because the reality is you'd have to look at yourself just as you are, poor person. Okay, 0 to $500,000. You know, middle class is, you know, 500K to $2 million on this chart. So looking at it as exactly what it is actually helpful, because you might think it hurts you because you bought your brand new uh, Kia, and you feel like you're middle class because you have a nice house and you got a garage, brand new, very decent neighborhood. Okay, might be even a new neighborhood in a cul-de-sac community that was just built from the ground up, and you feel like you're middle class. And those feelings, you like those feelings, and those feelings are interrupted, okay, by reality, by some guy that you might think is dusty or broke, with the channel called Broke Genius, telling you you're not middle class, you know. And then you know, you ante up on that, or double down on that by you know, just saying fuck you, you know, Broke Genius, you know, and then not want to listen to him. And it's like, yeah, I get it. I understand. I'm breaking the fantasy, you know. I'm breaking the fantasy that you thought were true, you know, and I'm trying to get you out of the boiling water that is ensuing by you thinking that you're all right and you're comfortable in the middle class when you're not even in the middle class. That's basically what I'm trying to tell you. You never was. Your grandparents wasn't never was, your parents wasn't never, middle class. It's just those are just lies, programming and propaganda that so you believe that so you can keep going. So you don't actually try to compete to be outside of the reality, right? Because the reality is the reason why this is important is if you if you actually looked at it just how it was, you'll probably be more impactful. You'll make different decisions because if you really looked at it like it is, looked at the chessboard like it was, so you can win, right? I was playing chess last night and I realized that basically my mindset was pretty off. It's like the scales of my brain is totally off, and I had to recalibrate my brain. So the thing is, if you're not looking at the chessboard just how it is, you're not gonna win the game, right? So that's what happens. That's what happens to a lot of people. That's why they, you know, end up house poor and all kind of other stuff because they're thinking they're all right. And if you looked at it just like you're a poor person, right? Just as you are, because you're not work, you don't have $500,000 to $2 million in income to be in the middle class, quote unquote middle class, in the accurate chart that I just showed, then you won't make any impactful decisions to actually try to truly be middle class. You'll just be poor because you'll think you're okay with your, finance, mortgage, loan for your house and finance cars and your credit cards and your student loans and all of that type of stuff, right? The middle class toolkit, right? The middle class debt toolkit, right? Keep you working, keep you on the hamster wheel. Yes, a boss. Yeah, I had that report due over the weekend. Yes, a boss. Yes, a massa. Yeah, I'll do that right now. Yes, sir. Yes, sire. Because you didn't know that they brought the basically monarchy system from the Europe to America. Okay, it just called different terms, different names. Still peasant. You know, and you thought because you got a bunch of propaganda on the books and media that school like you everybody in all your ancestors were these upward nobility people, and it's like no, most of the people in Europe was pretty much serfs and peasants mostly, some craftsmen, you know some people were basically kind of on the lower middle tier, craftsmen, merchants, stuff like that. But most of those people stayed in Europe. The serfs and the peasants, a lot of them were the ones that actually went to the new lands, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United States, the West Indies, right? So it's like, yeah, you come over here, right? You taught this, by your grandparents and your parents was taught this, and it's like, you know, you thinking it's okay, and then next thing you wake up and you realize the actual red pill, and the red pill wasn't nothing with to do with no bitches and shit, and some podcasts and some super chats and cash apps and consultations and t-shirts and shit. You realize that the true red pill was every fucking thing. And one of those things was that, yeah, you were duped into thinking and brainwashed into thinking that, basically you're middle class. And you were someone higher. Your ancestors were someone higher on a realm of a monarchy system that goes back thousands of years in Europe, and most likely they weren't. Most likely they probably went weeks without bathing. It might even shovel shit from a castle. And these things they hurt, because the hurt is you have this grandiose spirit, and that spirit is crumbled a little bit due to reality. It's crumbled a bit, because it wasn't that great, as you thought it was. Now, I'm gonna tell you this: being upper class has nothing to do with money, in the sense of what I'm saying as far as a mindset. Having a wealthy, high class mindset, it starts with reading. Okay, ideally history. Reading history, check. Learning everything you possibly can. I mean, math, science, biology. You know, um, if, obviously, if, quote unquote, you wake your ass up and learn what's actually going on versus the, below surface world or whatever. I mean, or above surface world. Know what's going on below surface and also above surface. Learning about laws, learning about you know different legal cases, legal matters, what happened, what transpired, learning damn near everything you possibly can know. We're gathering information, gathering knowledge, right? And what happens is over time, it doesn't matter if you have a PhD or you have no degree, or you just maybe have a associate's degree or a bachelor's. You'll be able to talk with the best of them, dialogue with the best of them, and be somewhat of a notable person because you have information, you have knowledge in the information age. You know that actually is now, I believe, is the digital age where everything is digitized, ones and zeros. So and it's in your mind, it's in your soul. If it's in your mind, it's in your body, it's in your soul, right? So you understand that the world is abundant, the universe is abundant. So there's psychological warfare being placed on you on a day-to-day basis through radio, TV, even social media, right? To make you think that you're lowly, right? But it doesn't cost anything to wherever you, I don't care if you're the poorest person, you can clean your house, you can organize your house in proper fashion, have some house plants so you can have some oxygen in your home, so you can have a clear mind, you know. And it's the funny thing. I've been laughing about this like for a day or two. I've been laughing about this, right? So I'm pretty well versed on fashion. What you don't know about me, another thing, other than, yeah, I know martial arts. I studied jujitsu for a few years. I wrestled in high school. But one of the things people don't really know about me also in high school is that I listened to one of my teachers, and she said I should take modeling classes. And I actually told my mother, just like I always told my mother, and my mother definitely spoiled me rotten. I didn't really have to want for almost anything. Um, I was like, I want to take modeling classes. So I found somewhere in Harvey, Illinois, some like civic center or something. And she paid for modeling classes. So I didn't pursue it because I don't know. Um, really didn't know how to pursue it. Was in high school at the time. But yeah, like I know a little bit about wearing clothes and shit. So what I'm saying is the laughing part is going to Goodwill and finding all kind of shit for pennies on the dollar. And it's like cleaning those, like wearing some old shoes that kind of slightly are worn, that is brand name, that nobody knows that you, they don't know if you had them for 5 years, 3 years, and then just having these clothes brand name, you know, and nobody actually knowing that you didn't have them for years or not, because don't nobody know you anyway, and who cares, because even if people know you, they wouldn't know unless you told them. And it's like, yeah, it's hilarious because people go through all kinds of bullshit and credit card debt to try to buy brand new shit from the store, and you just got the shit from a Goodwill bin for pennies on the dollar. It's like, oh my god, that shit is hilarious. You know, I mean, absolutely hilarious. Oh, what's going on? Oh man, we got a heavy hitter, man. Damn. Wow. I know I'm doing something, man, right when I got heavy hitters checking me out, man. Diamond Dave, man. Oh no, I thought that was Diamond Dave. It said Deacon Dave. Oh, okay. It's like, oh shit. Oh, but yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's like what that little like sound bite. No one would know. Nobody would know. Like, I mean, it's just like that simple. Like, I got some Colombian, boots for like, man, I got. I mean, it was like some DKNY coats, a Guess coat, some Colombian boots, some Converse or leather Converse high tops or mid tops. It's like $20 plus tax, and it's like, man, I mean, people literally go through, like, they go to the mall, and it's like, I mean, that's cool if that's what you want to do. I mean, of course, all my clothes ain't thrift clothes, but it's definitely a mix, and you wouldn't know what the mix was. It's like, and then my homie, he put me up on. I mean, this is Midwest, but he put me up on Plato's Closet. Okay, Plato's Closet is just basically like kind of like it's like a upper tier, like kind of resale shop. It's a thrift store, but it's not like Goodwill. They take like high end clothing or kind of like very high quality clothing, high quality brands, and then they resell them, right? They give the people some money that brings them in. And it's like, man, he put me up on that, and it was like, oh man, shit. I was like, and he know who I'm talking to. I'm talking about. I know this guy here, man. What's going on? Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Them Goodwill bins, man, and Play-Doh closet, man. You be Gucci, man, for sure. Cause see, my shoe size is, I don't know what the standard shoe size is, but my shoe size is 12. So um I don't know how rare that is. I have to look that up, but if you don't wear a 12, then you ain't gonna get them shoes. It's kind of like somebody to wear a size 13 or 14. Like they have a hard time finding shoes, but they gonna find some if they do because don't nobody wear no 13 or 14. So, it's like, yeah, man, sometimes, a lot of times, man, I got shoes on my eBay page, man. I got Kenneth Coles, I got Cole Hines, I got like shoes that, retail probably for over $100, brand new for like dirt cheap and they like high quality. And see, a lot of what I'm saying is your fashion is important as far as quote unquote being having some good class about yourself. Like, and you don't have to go like people be like, oh man, I gotta buy brand new. They feel some type of way about thrifting. Man, nobody would know. Nobody would know. And you don't have to tell nobody. You don't have if you really concerning about that, which I am not. No, nobody really would know. Like I worked in corporate America, man. I've been working in corporate America for decades. Nobody be asking you like questions about your clothing like that. Women probably do that, but guys don't be. I knew it was a dude, man. I work with, man, from China, man. He wore the same vest damn near every day. I mean, like, it was like, what the hell? Like, he wore, it's like the same vest every single day. I don't even know. I don't even know if he switched clothes, to be honest. But, it's like, man, it's, you go, if you know the different like fashion like brands and you know how to dress, like you go to the thrift store, man, have a whole wardrobe for like $100, man. You know, it's like, man, people really concern themselves about fashion like that. Like, yeah, okay, I get it, but you can get a lot of stuff for cheap. And I ain't gonna lie, like, shoot, my ex-wife know more about fashion than I do, and she be going there and be getting stuff for like that's expensive because the people that work there don't know. They don't know all the brands. So they be like letting stuff through and stuff because they don't know. It's clothing that's like really expensive. Like it's shirts that's like $1,000. Pants is like $800. And pe- it's certain brands like people don't know about, and then it'll go out in the public and people will grab it up. A lot of them people do. They know too, like what to look for. It's a big business. Like it's a big deal. People be going to them Goodwill bins and they be like bringing gloves, and it's like a whole movement. Like one of my cousins, his wife does that, and she says she make like 5,000 a month off eBay going to the Goodwill bins. You know, but yeah, I made money off of the Goodwill bins too. But it's like mainly what I be trying to sell is electronics. But yeah, man, you don't really have to do much, man. I mean, like it's all in it's a lot of it is in your mind. Like I was in like, okay, downtown yesterday, which was the equivalent of Manhattan in New York. It's the Gold Coast. I fit right in. I mean, I kind of look bummy. I ain't gonna lie, because I was just just I always be looking bummy. Like sometimes, not always, but a lot of times because I don't be wanting to get robbed, and then I be like trying to blend in with Gary, Indiana. So it's like it's like it's like a lot of times I don't really be going out my way. Um, but I do be like I be going out my way to be looking dusty sometimes because it helps you blend in. But I know how to glow up too, man. I trust me. I got Yeezys in the closet. I got Jordans that I haven't even wore. Um, I got shoes I ain't even wore. Um, my clothes, I put a lot of my clothes away. Um, I got too many clothes. Sometimes I gotta get rid of stuff, and then a lot of time you gotta upgrade your clothes too. You gotta get rid of your clothes and get some new stuff, or sell them. Because you kind of have to you know, update your clothing. But your uniform is important, very very important. Like one of the things that I remind myself, like I stopped kind of wearing gym shoes. I minimize my gym shoe wear, and I start wearing loafs. I start wearing like leather loafers or whatever, or even like right now it's snow on the ground, so I'm wearing boots. But it's like, yeah, one of the things that I noticed just wearing loafs instead of gym shoes, like I look my age, and I look more conservative in I would say I look you just look more professional when you're wearing like some loafs, some actual shoes that are not gym shoes, like casual shoes. You look a lot more professional. So I noticed like a lot more older women were looking at me. Not that I'm looking for older women or I'm trying to get with older women. I ain't gonna lie, older women ain't what you think. Like I done seen I done seen some 50-year-old women, man. 50 plus women, man. They still got some oil left in them, man. Man, shoot. I mean, they can't get pregnant pretty much. So it's kind of like being with a blow up doll, but and they got some nice bodies, and especially if they still take care of themselves. Um, yeah, yeah, hey, nice, nice, nice. You know, um, yeah, yeah, very, very nice. Um, but yeah, man, it's not class is not like what people think. It's a culture. It's a behavior. It's a set of behaviors. It's a mindset. Um, a lot of times, even if you let's say you live around people that kind of really understand that they poor, they not even middle class, because at least the middle class has the illusion of thinking that they are right. But if you live in a hood or in the ghetto or in a trailer park, it's no question. You can't say the argument of you being middle class is kind of it's kind of harder or mute. You know that you live even if you're middle class, you think you're middle class, you live around people that obviously are not middle class. Like even my situation, right? But the thing is that when you start to actually think that you're better than other people, that's what they're gonna think, and that's fine. But you're gonna act that way, and people are not your peer group. They're gonna not, they're gonna be acting a certain way, or say, man, you think you brand new or whatever. You think you somebody better than somebody, whatever. And that's what's gonna happen. Because you're gonna have a different mindset. You're gonna transition to a different mindset, and you're gonna be, more sophisticated, sophisticated, you know, um, very, very, very much a higher mind individual. You want better things in life. You understand the universe is in abundance. You could build a house from the ground up. All you need is capital. You know, if you want it, I mean, I ain't gonna go in depth with it. All you need is capital. You could have a A-frame in the woods. Like um, with a wood stove, and of course, probably gonna need a shotgun, quite a few bit pistols, some ammunition, probably a dog, little whatever type of dog you want, and a bunch of ammunition if you gonna do all that. The last movie I was watching on Netflix was this black dude that was a writer, or no, he was writing a book. You probably seen this. He was writing a book, and he was a reporter, and for like I guess CNN or whatever, or some type of CNN type show, and he went to a cabin, like he rented a cabin, I guess, or whatever, and he got involved in some type of murder conspiracy, basically. And it's like, yeah, like people be like, oh yeah, the country, I'm gonna just be out in the woods, and I'm just like, you just gonna be out there. you know Obviously the animals are one thing, but also the human animals is the worst thing. And yeah, one of the things about people that live in the country, if you didn't notice, people that live in the country, in the woods and all of that, and you notice they're really really pro gun, right? They like gun nuts, right? And you take my gun over my dead body, them types, right? The reason they like that because they out there. You out there in the country, and this is worldwide. If you out in the country, you have no protection layer. You literally have no protection layer. You're just out there. And your only protection is whatever guns and ammunition that you have, and your ability to survive with remote, without anything, without any assistance, without any help, the nearest intervention being miles and miles and miles away. So yeah, um, those are the things I think about, you know, and I mean, it just goes with the territory. It's how that goes. But and it's no law enforcement like that. The nearest law enforcement probably is maybe 20 miles away. And then what if they in on it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I mean, it is a good thing to watch a lot of movies is based off of true stories, you know. A lot of movies is like based off of true stories. So yeah, man, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, man, having a clear, concise mindset, man, sophisticated mindset, man. And the thing is a lot of people get ragged on about hood dudes, but hood dudes is sophisticated as hell, man. It's a lot of, especially now, a lot of hood dudes, man, be sophisticated, man. They be getting their money together, and just taking stuff serious, because they done seen a lot of people, go through problems and issues, and they go move into, like, a suburb or somewhere, and they might look out of place a little bit because they listen to NBA Youngboy and shit driving down the street, which I don't, but I get it. I mean, I like Future, I guess. But Future is sophisticated, smart dude. you know, if you look at Future's high school yearbook photo, look like a nerd. Same thing with Lil Jon. If you look at my high school yearbook photo, I look more Pookie-ish than Future and Lil Jon. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they look like, I mean, and then you gotta understand, rapping is a little bit of acting. It's entertainment. A lot of rappers are actually entertainers, or actors, right? Like Drake. That's the whole thing about Drake, right? A lot of the criticisms. If you watch Degrassi, which, I mean, obviously I didn't watch no damn Degrassi, But if you see like the little clips of that show, he's a trained actor. So what the thing is with rappers in entertainment, a lot of those dudes are actors. They're acting. They're not really like, what they rapping about and all of that, how they sound even. That's where Drake gets a lot of criticism because the way he's rapping and the way he's actually talking, because you can train yourself to talk like anybody. You can train yourself to, if you can train yourself to talk different dialects, right? That's why like British actors, they come to America and then they do black British actors do American roles, right? Um like for example, Idris Elba in The Wire. He nobody really knew he was actually British because he talked with a dialect, with an American dialect, African American basically dialect. Then you hear him getting interviewed on a TV show or whatever or wherever, and he's got a British accent. You like, damn, I ain't even know. So it's like, yeah, like a lot of them dudes are actors. They don't, necessarily you thinking that this person is a real person and they rap so well. One, they got some dude that's really good at writing rhymes, you know, and then they got somebody else it's an actual, it's like a product that's produced by a business department. You got producers that they basically infuse the lyrics with the beat, with the sound, in the entire delivery model of the actual song or verse. Then you got the dude that actually wrote the song or verses or bars, and then you got the rapper that may be also an actor that's rapping a certain type of way, and the way they actually talk is way different. They actually rap, and it's totally believable, it's marketable, and it's like it sounds good to people, and then that's it. But it's like, yeah, when you pull back the layers, this person is just, you see the actual, like they used to make fun of this on not Saturday Night Live, but they used to make fun of this on I think like in Living Color. Yeah, in Living Color. Yeah, they used to make, because they would be they had this like little segment where they would be talking a certain way, almost like well-to-do um artistic people that drink tea all day and discuss art. And then these is hardcore rappers, that rap about all kinds of stuff, and it's like, yeah, you hear them talking and it's like, it sound almost feminine and you know almost dainty the way they actually talk, and then you hit them rapping and they the toughest dude ever, on the rap verse, and it's like, yeah, man, that's what you might, your favorite rapper might be the best actor that you ever heard of. He might be also, and then that's why a lot of rappers actually got into acting, because it was kind of a natural transition, for them to go right to that. But yeah, um, you know, just being a higher class is just, to a certain extent, I'm gonna be honest, like acting. It's like, the, can you blend in the hood and then go to an upper class? Are you good of an actor to blend in the hood and then go around upper class people and blend in? I'm gonna be honest with you. The hood niggas don't fall for my antics. They don't fall for me. They know I'm not from here. When I go to a gas station in Gary, Indiana, and I get gas and I talk and I open my mouth, they know I don't fit here. They know I'm not from around here. When when I get a when I find a carpenter or somebody to work on my house and they hear me talk, you know, they know I'm not from here. Yeah. So I do not fit in well. You would think that I would fit in well because you probably don't like me, think I'm a broke dude that's ghetto or some shit. You think I'll fit in the ghetto. I actually don't fit in the ghetto well. I fit in better in an upper class neighborhood than in the ghetto. Yeah, because I have like, and that was the thing with me. Like when I because I grew up in Dalton, Illinois, which is it's a mix of ghetto and like at the time, in the 90s and the 80s, it was like a mix of ghetto, people from Chicago, and then black suburbia or suburbia itself, white people mainly, Hispanics, little Hispanics, not not that many Asians at all. I mean, it was some Indian, business owners, but it wasn't that. No, it was Asian. It was like it was like one dude that was like, I think he was Filipino that went to my grammar school. Or no, he went to high school. He went to my high school. It was one dude, but he ended up moving like probably after freshman year. I think he moved, but yeah, it was mostly like whites and blacks for the most part. Few Hispanic. But the thing is that yeah, like I had lived in a group home with white people, man. That's I lived once started living in this group home. I lived in this group home for almost 2 years, and then when I got out, it was like niggas couldn't understand why I was talking the way I was talking, and it was like I literally got into fights over the way I was talking. Cause I was one of them niggas that used to just be outside. Like I was bored in the house. It wasn't nothing to do in the house hardly. So I would just be outside playing basketball. I was athletic. So I'd just be outside and I'm outside with the niggas. and and it's like, man, he like, why is you talking like that? And like, yeah, I actually got in the actual fights. Thankfully, it was just fights, man. I was thinking about that the other day. A lot of cowards, man. You know, I was having to talk with my daughter because she's scared of Chicago. I'm like, man, these dudes, man, these guns, they get caught, they go to jail or prison, and they get beat up because they can't fight. The gun was made to be attacked to have a tactical advantage to avoid hand-to-hand combat. You know, that's what it was invented for. You know, um, because hand-to-hand combat is very physical and very tough. So the gun was made, the long gun, the cannon, and all of that was made to avoid that, to have a tactical advantage over that. But when you have physical contact, physical fighting, a lot of people cannot defend. They can't fight. A lot of people can't fight, and you'll even hear people say, "I ain't fighting," because they know they can't fight. But when you get caught, you can't shoot anybody. So you get caught, you go to jail. Guess what you got to do? There ain't no guns in jail. There ain't no bullets in jail. No bullets in prison. Right? You got to fight. And if you can't fight, you gonna get your ass whooped. You might be somebody's bitch. I mean, to be honest. So it's like, yeah, I mean, a lot of people I grew up with, we just had fights. We had fights. We fought it out. I mean, um, thankfully at that time it was still people fighting. Wasn't that many people shoot. It was some shootings, but it wasn't like crazy like it is now. It's like the 80s, the mid 90s, early 90s. So yeah, man. Yeah, I don't really fit in. I don't fit in no hood, man. My grandfather, man, was rich, man. I didn't even know he was rich. And then, I mean, my grandfather, my mother's side of the family is like kind of like country, you know, south side. A lot of people move from the country to the south side. Like my grandmother, she from Nebraska. She moved from Nebraska when she was young. My grandfather's from Mississippi. And my biological grandfather's from Louisiana. So yeah, I grew up eating crawfish and fucking jambalaya, gumbo, gumbo regularly, and I know how to make all of this stuff. I mean, I don't really like crawfish, honestly. Frog legs, red beans and rice, etouffee. So that, like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much, um, yes, my family is pretty much my mother's side is pretty much transplants. So yeah, wasn't it was it being ghetto in my I will say one of the things I do like being ghetto on um my for my grandparents, my aunts and uncles. It was kind of despised. They was kind of like bougie. They Catholics, black Catholics. You know anything about black Catholics? A little bit about that. You know what's up with that. And but see, my sisters, they because they wanted, it's kind of, my mother kind of made it dysfunctional because the you know choices that she made, and before like she met my father, she was basically a single mother. So yeah, um my sisters, they wanted to date thugs, so they wanted to be ghetto, like they strive to be ghetto. Like I was like, yeah, yeah, I get the whole ghetto thing, but it's like nah. I've seen the ghetto, like I've seen the worst parts of the ghetto, and I really, I really want to kind of be kind of neutral in that regard. And the thing is, it's like, yeah, women don't really get the worst side of the ghetto, because the thugs just want to fuck the women, but a thug to a dude, he want to fight the dude at the worst, or maybe even worse, shoot him. So men have to deal with the worst side of that, whole, paradigm. And then yeah, if you gonna date a chick that's in this quote unquote in the ghetto, you gotta go, you gotta be like a knight in shining armor on some knight in shining armor type shit. She lives on the rough side of town. You gotta be, it's like this video. It's this video you probably seen it that went around social media. And this dude, he had got out of jail and he was the woman's, like, boy, ex-boyfriend, and ex-baby daddy or whatever. He just got out of jail, and the dude was living there. The new dude was living there. He had a kid with the chick, and it was on some like male hierarchy shit. And he was like, I just, basically, he was like, "You willing to die over this pussy? I'm willing to die over this pussy." And he said something like, "I'm this, this, and this, and this." And the dude was like, there was like, "Man, I got my kid over there, man. What is you talking about?" It's like, I don't give a fuck. It's like, man, you gotta deal with them dudes, man. You gotta go in the trenches to get some pussy, man. See, like that's the type of shit I had had to do, or I did, um, I would go in the trenches, you know what I'm saying, to pick up a chick, man. Y'all ain't had to do no shit like that probably. Like, go go near the projects. You know what I'm saying? Like, but see, I wasn't fearful like that, I wasn't no fearful dude like that. Like I remember when I used to, cause I came from Chicago to the suburbs. I remember dudes used to be scared of Chicago. They ain't even want to go to Chicago. I couldn't wait to get a car and get out of the suburbs because it was boring and it was no women hardly. All the women was pretty much in Chicago. So it's like, yeah, man, I couldn't wait, man, to get a fucking car to drive the fuck on up out of there. But the thing is yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily fit in the hood, and I shouldn't. I don't. I haven't lived really, to be honest, like other than what I'm doing now, working on houses and shit, because it's a lot of profit to be made in the hood. Um, I didn't live there. Like I didn't live like that. And then if I ever did, it was like I kept to myself for the most part. Um, but my daughters, they don't know hardly anything about that. They don't really like that type of environment. That environment they're uncomfortable with. They're cul-de-sac babies. So they don't really know nothing about the hood or the ghetto like that. So they like sheltered cul-de-sac babies. So anything outside of the cul-de-sac, they just break down in their mind. And I mean, I like that though, because it is a good concept, because it's like, yeah, man, I mean, I look at things, from a different perspective, but honestly, that's the right state of mind to look at it like that. You see the breakdown of society, however it got that way. You see that, it's like, it's not good. It's a lot of imperfections. Imperfections add up, right? So you just look at just Gary, Indiana, right? I take my daughters to, basically look at my house and see what's going on, and then they see the neighborhood. They see, these different streets, and they see abandoned uh, commercial buildings. They see, all of these different things that just look out of place, and they looking at it from a 7-year old mind, 8-year old mind, and they're like, the hell's wrong with this? Because they don't see that. And it's like, it's exactly how it is. And it's like, I mean, how did it get there? I mean, obviously it's a lot of stuff involved with that. I mean, it's a lot of documentaries. A lot of those documentaries, though, Gary, is like very, very biased. They show you the most negative parts. It is negative parts of Gary, Indiana, but it's parts of Gary, Indiana that's just like, um it's like enclaves where it's really nice houses and all of that type of stuff, but yeah, you got to take the good and the bad, and it's a lot of bad. And it's like, okay, you might be in a good part of Gary, Indiana, but you still surrounded by the bad. you still you still got problems, right? You got commercial blight, residential blight, you know, crime, right? Violence, uh, um, unemployment, poverty. So you might, it's people that, I mean, I made over $100,000 last year. You got people that made more money than me. They live in Gary, Indiana. They make it every year. They make more than that, and they own their home. Low cost of living. They enjoy living the fruits and comfort of living in Indiana. But the thing is that yeah, it's a lot of shit to deal with that, living in Gary, because it's like, all of the things that I talk about is amplified when it comes to, Gary, Indiana, because you need commercial businesses to thrive. The concept, the programming and brainwashing of the black man and woman in America to be 100% job oriented. Not even, I'm not even talking about self-employment. Self-employment is okay. You're getting there. Self-employment is like coming, it's like the transition from employment to self-employment. You're actually, that's, you kind of learning how to be on your own. you know um you're learning actually the how to be self-sufficient and how to actually kind of run a business, because you are a business at that point. You're self-employed. Then that transitions to business. Well, the problems, of not understanding how to build businesses, and brave enough to actually go on your own to start businesses, that brings all of that. And then you go see other neighborhoods and communities and cities that are non-black, and you see these dense commercial blocks and enclaves, and you wonder why they have so much. And you're like, well, it starts with you. It starts with, you know every person trying to recondition their brain and unbrainwashing themselves to not just be, you know workers, work mindset. Like, I need to find a job, and then I need to work at the job, be comfortable, do all of the job stuff, and then work there till I can, whatever, live my life and have vacations and buy stuff at the store. That brainwashing has to, I mean, obviously there's obviously a business class of people that's obviously black as well, that are thriving and doing well. I mean, but yeah, it's too many workers, right? Way too many job people. It needs to be more business people. I don't, and you have to compete no matter how much, how difficult it is. It has to be, competition, and even on the underworld side of things, even even in that, like, you see these people, man, they sell these drugs, they do all of these scams and all this stuff, whatever they do for money, and they don't know how to, like, other, like non-blacks, wash that money into legal entities. They don't know how to clean up their act, right? They don't know how to clean up you know um their money. Everybody else does that too. They do illegal activities. It's just the media propaganda is showing only black people commit crimes, right? Because that's the propaganda. That's the game, right? But yeah, everybody does that. A lot of people do that. And to be honest with you, this is what I thought about the other day, like, or actually not too long ago, was that I forgot, is that as much as I talk about ghettos and everything like that, it's more poor white communities in America than any other ethnic group, because it's more white people in this country. So it's more poor white communities than any other racial group in America. I mean, that's why you hear a lot of them complaining, right? Because you got a lot of poor white communities. If you go down to, drive down from Chicago and you go to these small towns in Illinois, there's a lot of poor white communities. The first time I saw that was like really when I was going to school in Champaign, and I started driving through these like small cities like Danville and Peoria and Decatur and all these other, small little rural cities that kind of, sprung up these towns. And it's like, man, it was just so many poor white communities. I was like, wow, these people just down here, just basically trying to survive. Like, I had no idea because in my mind, I thought all white people were rich. That's what I thought when I was younger. I mean, of course, I didn't think that, but I was like, I didn't know. I didn't really drive too far from Chicago like that, you know. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is wow. You know, I mean, they don't really have, they have violence, but it's not like the violence you'll see in like a Gary, Indiana, or other cities that are quote unquote poor too, but they, for some reason or another, poor cities that or poor towns that black people live in tend to be more violent for whatever reason than these poor white cities and towns. But they do be shooting each other too, because I never forget when I went. It was one year I used to help my friend Vin because he used to sell like oil and shea butter and black soap and stuff and different stuff like that. And we went to Indianapolis for the Black Expo. This was like early 2010s, and we turned on the news, and it was like all of these people was just shooting each other. I was like, God damn, this ain't, nobody would even know this was going on, man. People in the trailer park, they was shooting each other, man. This one dude, he got shot, man, across the trailer park or something, man. And man, they was shooting each other, man. I was like, damn, this people have no idea this going on. Like, I mean, but the thing is that yeah, it's, people were frustrated when they're poor. It doesn't matter the race. Um, you know, that brings out the frustration. But yeah, man, being just a worker, you know, yeah, you can help get your son or daughter a job, but it's like, I mean, I guess that's helpful to a certain extent, but when my mom gave me, some type of nepotism because she knew the principal and got me in working at her school, basically as an IT coordinator, I used that money to start a business. I mean, well, I already had a business. I just started a brick and mortar store. That job was helpful in doing so because if you start in grassroots without any loans, having a job is essential for that. You need some money from somewhere. It takes money to make money, right? So yeah, but I already had my friend that was, I was helping vending. He was like my mentor. He showed me the way. Like, he started from the bottom pretty much selling on the street, selling in clubs and stuff, selling oils and stuff. And he, basically went all the way from there to vending to the flea market to a brick and mortar store. So I saw the path and how you could do it. Of course, my grandfather, he did it, but he did it a different way. He had a business partner, and he also saved his money up from working at a bank. He had way more money at that time, but yeah, I mean, it was like something that it wasn't impossible for me to do. So I guess from other people, it seems impossible because they don't really have anybody that they know that does it. Like, for example, like one of the reasons that it's kind of difficult for me to kind of get really heavy into coding because I really, to be honest, I don't really have no friends that are programmers. Most of my friends when I started IT, they were in the hardware. They knew a little bit of stuff here and there, but I started off, basically building computers. That's how I learned how to, basically, get into computers. I started, building custom computers, right? I still know how to do that, right? I'm actually trying to uh bring forth some type of startup business where it's like custom computing. I mean, I literally have a website and everything, but I gotta update it. But the thing is that's how I started in hardware. If my peer group was a bunch of coders, right? And I, we you hang out, we talk on the phone, and then if I'm stumped off anything, they'll give me a some type of solution for the problem or whatever. But it wasn't that wasn't the case. It was a dude I remember lived like around the corner from me. He was a programmer, but it wasn't like none of my people that I knew really were into programming like that. So a lot of times it's about who you know and what they're doing. That's why that's important. Like if you hang around people that drink beers all day and fuck hood rats, well, that's what you're going to be doing, drinking beers and fucking hood rats. You know, Carlitos. That's the thing. It's stuff going on that you don't know anything about. I'm not broke. That's what you don't know. You just stumbled upon a channel in your inferior brain, just surface level, like what people do usually, even in chess, they just surface level think, and they don't like when what I do when I watch someone's video. I don't assume that whatever they're talking about right now is like what is going on um in their channel name or whatever. I watch a couple of their videos before I make some type of conclusion of who I'm listening to. That's what I do. And then I realize, okay, this is who this actually person is. I don't just come on someone's live stream and then I just assume that that's what they are at the moment, you know. So I'm gonna help your weak mind um do what you need to do. Cause yeah, it's easy to have a lazy brain, right? A lot of people are lazy brain. And that's it is what it is. It's helpful, you know, when you go work at a warehouse. It's really hard to work at a warehouse. Like I've tried working at a warehouse. I've done it because I had, I was in between jobs. But it's hard because for a smart man to work at a warehouse, it's kind of difficult because you got all of these thoughts. You're used to solving hard problems on a day-to-day basis, and then you just go start working at a warehouse where all that is required is for you to pick up a box, put it somewhere, put it down, sweep up something, throw it away. And it's like you don't need to really have any high level of thinking to do those activities. And it's like, I was dropping some food off at Amazon, and I saw like the inside of this Amazon warehouse or whatever distribution center. And a lot of people do work in these warehouses and stuff, and it's like you don't really need to have high level thinking to work at a warehouse. And it's kind of like it's kind of frustrating for the man that thinks a lot, right? You know, the man is used to, you go from solving complex equations to just picking up boxes and shit. It's frustrating, you know. Um, and it's like, yeah, like most people, they have a reality where they really don't have to use their brain. They do activities because if you're lazy brain, you could do activities that don't involve having any type of using any type of brain power. It's like even DoorDash, right? Like people think people don't understand what's going on. And it's not like you I can it's not like I'm just going to drive around and pick up food and shit and explain to people that yeah, I have a house that I'm working on, it's paid for. I have 3 cars. I have I have a bunch of stuff that I'm not gonna walk around and explain my fucking financial balance sheet to anybody. I'm just gonna take the assumption, take the, whatever thoughts people have that I'm just broke bum driving around delivering groceries and food because the ends justify the means. I don't care how it looks. I don't give a fuck. You know, it just is what it is right now. Um, and the thing is that uh, the reality is something totally different than. I mean, I know most people who probably do DoorDash are struggling or whatever. Whatever they might be extremely broke, whatever. Um, but I'm not gonna drive around and every person that looks at me a certain way or whatever, or chuckles or whatever, explain to them like, man, no, man, no, I got a house, man. Man, it's paid for, man. It's worth like blah 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 blah. Man, I'm balling, man. I'm really balling, man. I'm not gonna do that, man. I, it's like the old grandma that died with millions and millions of dollars, and they thought she was struggling. Like I mean, like I really like, it's like people just have these preconceived notions, and it's like that's great because I don't really want to be robbed. If I could live my whole life never being robbed, and all I had to do was just blend in with everybody else that's financially struggling, or people, or even be below what the average person is and how they look or whatever, and if I did that, I can avoid being robbed, then I'm doing a good thing, you know. And I actually I did some content about, basically how to be invisible, and it's like if my invisibility cloak is that good, I'm doing a good thing. Because I'm gonna tell you something about Chicago. You already, if you didn't know, they will rob your ass. Now they're gonna rob your car. They don't really care about how you look. Now, I mean, most, my car that drive the most is a nice car, so it is like robbable, or grand theftable. So I mean, it doesn't matter if you way you look. If you drive in a nice car, somebody, you know young kids will probably try to rob your ass. So but the thing is that, yeah, I mean, whatever I could do to blend in, it helps me. But the thing is that I understand what I talked about before, which is the actual true middle class. I know I'm not middle class. That's also like, I know the reality of what the true middle class is, what the taught propaganda brainwashed middle class. And I'm not middle class, unfortunately. And I know that. And what I know I profit from, and I prosper from, and what people don't know, they suffer from, because they might think that they're middle class. And I've talked plenty about that. I've talked about that over the years, how people, they'll go, okay, they'll work on their credit, they'll work a job, and then they'll get credit cards, they'll go get brand new cars, clothes, uh house, condo, whatever, have this like lux lifestyle of, based off of credit, and using actual rich people's money, and they'll have a finance lifestyle that's based off of making monthly payments, and people will literally like look at other people like they're struggling or whatever, and they might not even have it. They don't. There's some people I know don't finance nothing. They don't use no credit whatsoever. It's cash and carry, but they'll look down on other people that may not look a certain way or look up to a certain standard, but that person that actually on a financial balance sheet is richer than they are. And I know that too. And again, I don't have the issues that people have because I understand financial reality versus financial delusion. And I talk a lot about that on this channel. And I'm not broke. My assets are more than my liabilities. Thankfully. Don't rob me. If you see me, don't rob me, okay? Um, but yeah, like that's the thing that people, that's the like psychology that people mess up on, and the reality of it is people cry and people suffer. Um, you know, I posted a video on my Facebook page of this chick that literally, she called some finance, auto finance guy. It's on like YouTube, and she had lost a brand new Benz that she bought from she got a loan off on, and she was living in Miami and she moved to Atlanta, and she called this guy to literally ask him to buy the car from the auction. Our car already got repossessed, and she said she's still not, she don't have a job, but she said she thinks that she'll get a job, and she wants this guy to buy the car and then give it to her in hopes that she'll get a job soon. And this is the mindset. This is the mindset of individuals like this, where they want to live a certain way and be a certain way without actually doing the work. Really, to be honest, and that's the game that people play, and that's actually what the actual rich and wealthy want you to play. Because if you play that game, you're going to end up a certain way, basically broke, busted, and disgusted, because you're trying to, basically blend in with actual, because everybody wants to pretend like they're rich and wealthy. That's the game. And if you play that game, it's going to go a certain way pretty much almost every single time. Gonna get into debt, and all something gotta happen. You lose a job, or you know, that pretty much it. That's it right there. Any income shift, downward income shift, and it's curtains. And it happens every day. That's why people come in and out of my channel, because, but pretty much they know They got to get their medicine. They got to get their financial medicine, to wake them up or whatever, or kickstart some stuff, get some stuff right, get some stuff together. Because, like I said, I was one of those individuals that played that game too, and I suffered extremely playing that game. And a lot of people are suffering now and are going to continue to suffer trying to play that game. So the NBA is having problems with views. They're having issues, with viewership, attendance. They're having some issues with viewership. And Adam Silver, he's trying to get to the bottom of it, I guess, in some kind of form or fashion. And my take on it, from somebody, obviously, I mean, coming up from Chicago, we had the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Those years was very, very special, and I knew it was gonna end one day, and I was like, damn, I didn't think it was just gonna be this long drought, but actually I did, because those things don't happen that often. And what a lot of times, this is what happens with sports, is that it's like a dynasty type of thing. It's kind of like the Yankees. The Yankees have a culture within themselves. The Yankees actually is a part of American culture. Okay, it's part of baseball culture. And at one time, that's what the Bulls were. And the actual owners and managers, the organization of the Bulls is what destroyed the Bulls. And that's the same thing. That's the same thing that is true for the Chicago Bears. It's not the players, it's the owners and the management. They fired, okay, for example, the Bears, in case you didn't know, they fired everyone, a, all the way up to the basically general manager. They replaced everybody from the general manager on down. The only person is left is the owner. You know, basically George McCaskey. He's the grandson. He's the son of the basically his mother is the is Virginia McCaskey, which is she's the granddaughter of George Halas, or the daughter of George Halas, the original founder of the Chicago Bears and owner of the Chicago Bears when they first started. Like, they was one of the original franchises of NFL history, right? So, basically he's a Nepo baby. They got him with a picture using a vape pen. He's like 70 years old or something, or I don't know. And it's like, yeah, man, he's the problem. They are the problem. The owners, it's at the point where the owners are the ones that, are holding back, you know, actual organization. And a lot of times that is in business. I'm gonna tell you something I know about business. A lot of what you find out with business is ownership, it's management. You find out, okay, you go into Little Caesars and you wonder why it's a long wait and it's only like four people making pizzas, and they got this big rush of people coming in there. It's not the workers. How can you blame the workers for there being this long line of people to, waiting for pizzas? Then you got people coming in to pick up the pizzas,
delivery drivers and shit. You know, it's not the workers. They're not to blame. The managers set that up like that, where it's only four workers. They're trying to, squeeze staff and all of that. That's management. That's not the workers. It's not the people, behind the cash register, the people making the pieces. That's the management. That is why that is. And the ownership allowing the management, because it's like a hierarchy. The ownership, the owners, the managers, workers. So if you only got four people making pizzas and you got 20 people trying to get, their pizza, and then you got another people that already ordered, they coming to get their pizza, and you got this massive pile up and back up, and you don't have a for sale, you don't, I mean, not a for sale, but a we're hiring sign outside your window. I already know. I don't. You don't have to go to MBA school, Harvard MBA school, to understand that's a management and ownership issue. And the thing about businesses where I'm envious to a certain extent, I didn't have that problem, and I wanted that problem because I knew how to solve that problem. If I'm making all of this money with customers coming in, which I really didn't have that wasn't my reality. It was occasions where my store was filled, but it was, a few people, but wasn't this long line like you'll see at a drive-through restaurant or some restaurant. But the beautiful thing with that is you have what you went into business for. You have a bunch of paying customers and you're making money from that. And that money is power, right? So I don't understand about management and ownership is because a lot of times the manager is the owner, right? With restaurants, you already got the money, you're making the money. You don't know how to hire people. You can literally hire someone the same day and they can start working tomorrow or even that day. That's the power of having enough money to pay people, because a lot of times when you're starting a business, you don't really have any money to pay anybody. But if you're making money, you got enough money to hire anybody you want, as many people you want or need. And that's one of the things that it just trips it makes me chuckle every time I see that, as someone that went to college for business, that is a grandson of a millionaire businessman. That is an easy problem to solve, and it's a beautiful problem to solve because you already have a demand. You already have a bunch of customers, paying customers, waiting to give you their money, and it's like it's just it's wild. It's tripped out to me, man. But that's the beautiful thing. I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot of opportunity in business. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a lot of opportunity, especially restaurants, because people like eating. And it's like, man, you have a situation like Turkey Hut, like you got lines out the door, people trying to come get you. They demanding to give you money. Like a lot of times people sell drugs. You know why people sell drugs? Because it's a demand. They're people, they gotta have the shit. They're hooked. They're fiends and addicts. And they're in, lines outside, drug houses and trap houses or whatever, because they're trying to get drugs because they need it. They're addicted to it. When you have something like that and it's legal, you got people outside your restaurant in lines trying to give you their money. That is the best thing you could possibly have, because that's literally like you better than the drug dealer at that point. You making legal money. You got a high demand, bunch of paying customers offering you money, and you don't have the ability to hire enough staff to handle that, and you don't know what to do and how to do it. You don't know how to deal with that part. That part is easy to deal with, because a lot of what people have a problem with is having paying customers, having a demand like that. And you actually, when I see people actually have a demand like that and actually blow it, that's that. It's tripped out to me. It's so tripped out to me. And I think what it is that people, they don't want to hire people because they don't want to have to deal with a lot of different people, I guess. And then they don't want to have to pay any money to people, more people than what they need. And it's like, it's hilarious to me. It's absolutely hilarious because it's easy to solve. It's so easy. You're like right there. Like you at the point where you got the demand, you got the paying customers. They already there. You got the perfect formula for success. You're already successful at that point. All you need is the staff. And it's like that easy part of just, it's so easy now. A lot of stuff, a lot of this technology now is so easy because they actually have startups, they have actual platforms. You just pay a fee and they do all of the onboarding for you to hire someone. They do all the paperwork, they do all of that. As far as the hiring process, they do that for you. And literally, you just need people to assist in these customers that are in line to give you money, like the turkey hut. And you don't get those people. You don't know how to get those people because you don't know. Because a lot of times what people don't know about business, it usually means they don't really get to the point where they get a whole bunch of paying customers. They don't get the demand of a whole bunch of people paying the money like that. And it's like when people actually have that part going and then fuck it up on the not hiring people part, I be like, wow. I be blown away. I be like, whoa. Cause that's actually the easiest part. And you stopping yourself from actually franchising because usually when you got a lot of demand like that, you could open up another store or restaurant 2 miles away or less than 2 miles away. Cause somebody can just go to the other location because it's too much of a location at this first location. So they can go across town to another location because you got that much of a demand. And then you just basically use the same business system that you got at the other restaurant. And it's like, man, and then that's the whole McDonald's formula right there. McDonald's, literally, you got the ability to make a franchise, and you could like it could have been a turkey hut all over the United States in about less than 10 years. That's how Crumble started. That's how Chipotle started, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you know, and then you got black people that don't want to listen to nobody. You got to be able to be what's the word? Coachable, right? You gotta have open ears. You know, you gotta be able to, reach out to consultants. A lot of times what people do is they just don't want to seek no help. They don't want to seek no help. So they just try to do everything by themselves. And that doesn't work. They get this narcissistic brain where you can't tell them nothing because in their mind they already got the Range Rover and they making a whole bunch of money, but they got this mountain of people making complaints because they can't get their order. The customer service is messed up because you hiring people. based off of how they look and how popular they may be or whatever, and they got bad rude customer service. And all of this stuff, man, is a recipe for disaster. And it's like, yeah, you might be making this money and all this type of stuff, but it collapses because those things do matter. You got people that say they got bad customer service and they got all of these reviews with bad customer service. Those things grow legs. And then, people that don't want to really deal with that, they're not going to come to the restaurant. And then you're going to start losing other people because they're going to tell other people don't go to that restaurant. And it's all because you hired the wrong person. You hired an entitled asshole to run your restaurant into the ground. They didn't do anything. They didn't come up with no capital. They didn't give you no money. They didn't give you no sound advice to help you in your business. They just needed a job, but you hired an entitled asshole that actually was broke because they needed a job. I mean, who want to work at a restaurant? Obviously, somebody that ain't got no money, right? Especially if they are older than 20, 21. You got to work at a restaurant. Obviously, that's not, restaurants are for like teenagers and people that's, probably college age, right? So you got this entitled asshole that you hired and they run your business into the ground. And just because you want to, be a people pleaser manager, or you like her because she got a fat ass, or you like him because, you know, he's cool and he that's your drinking buddy or whatever. I don't know. Whatever the case may be. And it's like, yeah, this person it has no vested interest whatsoever. Literally a bad employee run all your customers away. And you see this shit, doing DoorDash, you see all of this type of stuff. You see these people, man, that these entitled people, entitled assholes that are young, that have daddy issues, all kinds of different issues. And you see these people being rude, and it's like, well, if you rude, you can stay your ass home. You could stay at your mama's house and you could bug her all day. You don't have to be in no restaurant working nowhere. You don't know how to talk to people or deal with people. You could go do other things. You don't have to deal with the public. You could go work in a warehouse, you could go be a janitor. It's a lot of things that you could do and you don't really have to deal with a lot of people. But yeah, that's another thing, hiring these employees, running your business. You wonder why your business is closing up. You as a business owner, when you close up your business, you're thinking about everything you did good, everything you did bad, and you're gonna start thinking about like a checklist. And then one of those checklists is, yeah, you were making money and everything, you were doing good, but them damn reviews because you hired bad employees, entitled assholes, you know. And the reason why I say entitled, because sometimes people think just because they got a job, you know, that's enough. That's all they need to do is just be at that job and they could do whatever they want to. And then people be treating people based off of whatever they think in their head. It's like, they judge you based off of how you talk and all this other goofy shit, all the stuff they think in their head. And it's like you're not supposed to think like that. You're not supposed to give a fuck who the fuck the person is. Like, you know, people judging people and shit. Every fucking person that walks in a room or whatever. It's like, don't judge the person. Don't even think about the person. Think about what the fuck they asking you to order, and then just think of that. And it's like, yeah, like just goofy stuff like that. What people do, and it's like, as a manager, the person that was a manager that owned a business, if I seen anything like that, I would self correct them. I'll be like, well, you don't need to be on cashier. Why don't you go make fries? Okay, go make the hamburgers, make the sandwiches, because you see stuff like that, and if it's little stuff like that. If you don't notice it, you'll be thrown off. And it's like, yeah, some people don't need to be cashiers. They probably need to be working at the sandwich line, or the fry and nugget, side or whatever, because they, you know, looking at everybody that come in and shit, putting them in some type of box of how they should treat them and shit like that. It's like, yeah, all little goofy, weird shit like that. You just put them in the fry line, or the, go clean out the common area, wipe the tables down, sweep and mop. And it's like stuff like that. I mean, they might not like that, because I mean, obviously that'll be, a downgrade if they go from being a cashier to cleaning the common spaces and, filling up the pop machine, you know. But it's like, who gives a fuck? You know, it's like, if people put on these entitlements because for whatever reason they allow this, because I mean, they already hired them, and maybe they don't want to file, pay unemployment. I don't know what the fuck the reasons is. I would have to do a business roundtable to find out, because as me, I will say, as a business owner, I wasn't the one that have ever had it to where I was making so much money and then I didn't I had a problem with hiring people. Like, I didn't have that problem, but it is probably, I'm sure, some people that were business owners that they had that issue, and I just would be curious of the mindset, or what they actually did, and what they thought, as far as like dealing with employees and the pros and cons and stuff like that. Cause it's like, man, I mean, it's just so simple to me. It's like, you got the money to hire these people. How are these people? Are they giving value to your customers, or they're taking value from your customers? It's that damn simple. And it's like, yeah, people really struggle with that. Um, I just, it's a lot of stuff involved with business, but the tragic part about that is, the hardest part, these people have already conquered that. They got actual paying customers that are willing to give them continuous money. And that's one of the hard parts about business. And they've already got that resolved. And they just need staff to handle the orders. And it's like, that part, I understand it's, an issue with hiring people and having quality people, but it's a lot of people that need jobs. And it's like, it's a combination of those that want to work hard because they're hungry and they're not entitled, versus people that are entitled, and that entitlement brings forth being an asshole, a unnecessary asshole. Like, it's not wrong with you being an asshole, but acting like you're the business owner because you're behind the cashier is a level of entitlement and asshole behavior that it just, it's just, very, very much way out of bounds. And it's like, yeah, I didn't this that has destroyed many, many of businesses. you know they gotta close up, and I'm talking about every type of business. This is not race oriented. This is like businesses, All kinds of businesses. That's one of the reasons when you add that checklist of why they putting that, going out of business. That's one of those checklists. Bad employees. You go do a list of all the things, the reason why you went out of business. And one of those checklists is bad employees. And it's like, yeah, it happens. It happens every day. You know, bad employees will bring down your company. It'll bring down an entire corporation, to be honest. You know, so it's just one of those things that a lot of people don't understand human resources. They do not like that part of business. I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of people, they don't really know, they don't really do any research in that department. They don't understand the power of human resources and how to manage that, and it's real simple. Honestly, you could just hire someone that is a manager with with experience working in human resources. It's like you can a la carte business. A lot of business, even as far as what you sell, you can hire people like that. Like you could hire people um kind of that have like niche experience. They you could hire an assistant manager with a human resource background. They might not have that much experience because I doubt someone with human resource background is trying to work even as a manager at a fast food restaurant. But it happens. Some people have downturns and might be moving into a new area. They might be going through a divorce. They might be trying to get their life back on track, and they worked in some corporation as in the human resource department, or they went to college for human resources. It's a wide variety. I mean, usually someone with a business administration background or business management background, they can, that's enough to pretty much do that, to hire someone with that experience. But some people just have character flaws, where, you get some type of simp manager that he allows these women and even backs them up. He backs their bad behavior up. He allows them to run roughshod and disrespect customers and all of that. And next thing you know, they get in a fight with the customers, and he'll be the one that helps them fight. It's like that's a side of it too. Where you had these simp managers that allow these women to behave in a way that drives customers away, makes this hostile environment. You see that too. You see a lot of that in the hood. You see these simp managers that allow their bad behavior, from a lot of both men and women. Allow them. You go to a Popeyes. Popeyes is notorious for that. You go to a Popeyes and it's black ran, and they have terrible customer service. And they're known for having that. It's like a video meme now. Popeyes, they look for the worst neighborhoods to have their Popeyes in, and they look for the worst employees. It's like it's a thing. So yeah, it's business is it's a machine within itself, but it's much needed. It's if you look at Gary, Indiana, one of the biggest reasons Gary, Indiana is Gary, Indiana, because you know no businesses, hardly any businesses. It's no sustainable. Like you need, like businesses do a couple things for a city, right, or a community. they provide adequate services and goods for that community. Because if you don't have the services and goods, right, that means you got to go to other communities, right? Which in Gary, Indiana, that's pretty essential. You pretty much standard. Yeah, you got to go outside of Gary to get damn near a lot of things, right? Because it provides, having businesses provide those needed goods and services. And I'm not gonna lie, I get excited as a business owner when other people are skittish and scared to start a business. I know all you need is money, and you don't have any competition because other people are not around, right? So you start you a hardware store because Gary, doesn't have any, that many hardware stores, right? Start a nice, like, kind of mom and pop type hardware store. You get like one of them big old buildings, it don't cost that much, and you start you a hardware store. You get you a security guard. You got to pay him as an extra employee because you're in Gary, right? You get some employees, right? You train. You're gonna have some issues, right? You're gonna have some loss prevention issues, right? Let's just be honest. But you don't have any competitors. See, that's the one that was a smart thing about me, right? I had my store, my computer store, in the hood, and it was a couple computer stores around me, right? When I first opened my store up. But one of the things that I knew was it wasn't that many competitors. It wasn't that many stores, not too many people opening no computer store in no hood, right? So it's like, oh, no competition hardly. But it was at that time. It was Best Buy still around where it was close to my store. It was um Chinese computer shop not too far away. And then they had several computer shops at that time. And then it was a couple black owned computer shops around me too. So, but by the time it was like 3 years went past, a couple years went past, Best Buy closed down, a couple of computer shops closed down that were black owned. The Asians were still around, but it was like the competition was dwindling, but things happened. I had to close up my business, but you know, it was like still that mindset still remains. It's no competition, it's opportunity. You know, it's the hand rubbing, like Anthony Adams, yellow suit rubbing the hands because you ain't got no competition. Yeah, you got to deal with some stuff. Yeah, nobody wants to get robbed and all that. But you can't be scared in business. At the end of the day, shit, I mean, I used to bring my gun to work. Well, to my business. So I brought my gun, I had a 380, um, and I used to bring my gun with me. I never had to use it. But the thing is that that's all you gotta do. It ain't if you that scared. But you got some people that are scared to use guns. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. But uh, yeah, it's no competition. That's one way to look at it. Gary got a lot of people with money. You got steel workers. You got people that commute from different parts of Indiana, commute from Illinois. They live in Gary. Most of the jobs that I get, I work in Illinois. My ties are in Illinois. I know most of my work history is from working in Illinois. So, uh, I commute from Indiana to Illinois like regularly. So the thing is that yeah, it's an opportunity because it's no competition. Nobody brave enough to open up, but it's a lot of Indians, a lot of Arabs, um, a few Koreans. But you got to understand the reason they brave. Look at where they're from. You know, look at their history. Shoot, it's wars going on in the Middle East right now. You know, They used to wars. They used to guns going off, bombs going off. So going in the hood, they in Africa too. You know, the Arabs are all in Africa. So going to a hood around people that don't think that they're delusional and they don't think they're Africans and get money from them, oh, that's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You know, providing them what they need, doing what they're not able to do, start a business and compete. Oh, they're good at businesses, starting businesses. Very good at it. They're Semitic people just like the Jews. You say you're Semitic, but you don't follow the principles of being a Semitic, being good with money, making profit, being compensatory, you know. But whether they took over the lands of Canaan or whatever, you know, invaded or whatever, they actually follow that and they live it, you know. You just talk about it. You scared to start a business or you waiting for a grant. You keep talking about grants because you don't have the balls and the cojones to save some money and bootstrap a business. You think it's hard. It's actually not that difficult. The concept of getting a store is the same as getting an apartment. Got to put a security deposit down in first month's rent. You could actually negotiate with a commercial business owner that you would be renting from, but honest with you, you can get entire. I've seen entire commercial buildings for sale in Gary for like $25,000. So you can like, cause it's a lot of stuff is dirt cheap, and it's like it's 3 flat, 6 flat, 8 flat buildings. It's like less than 50 grand. I mean, it's gonna probably cost about 200 to fix it up, but you have that building, you could rent all of those units out in Section 8 and you renovate all of those apartments, and you'll be rich pretty much if you have the cojones and the ability to do it. And you don't. I'm not convincing you. I'm not. Trust. This is not a convincing video. This is not the broke genius convince hour. I don't have to convince you to do anything because you know what? I'm doing it. And it's people from New York in here. I know people from New York is here. I see people with Pennsylvania plates, Ohio, a whole bunch of Hispanics already here. They're actually doing it. They're doing it every day. They got the rollout dumpsters in front of the house. They renovating the house. Yeah, Gary's like Gary. If you look at Detroit, if you know anything about Detroit, how what the people building up homes in Detroit, they the same thing with Gary. They're doing the same thing. You got tons of investors. Got people on YouTube that's real estate investors. They already invested in Gary. They telling you, you're not. I'm not. I don't have to convince you. I'm not convincing you anything. It's a conversation, but yeah, they already doing this. But what I'm saying is, yeah, Gary, any other city, you name it, you don't have this commercial buildings, properties, businesses selling services and goods. You can forget about it. And Dr. Claude told you the same thing decades ago. Without any commercial thriving businesses selling goods and services that people need, you can forget about it. And if you look at any other city, C and B, obviously A neighborhood, all of those, what makes those areas what they are is thriving, dense commercial centers. You know, and this is the thing. This is the upper class mindset. This knowing this and understanding this, you don't have to you don't have to go to Harvard MBA school to know this. It's very simple observation, to be honest. It's like, look at this. I mean, my little girls know this, and they're 8, 9 years old. They can see that. They see, oh, they're around dense commercial businesses. Okay, they see that's their area right? And they come to Gary, they see blight, they see abandoned commercial businesses that used to be there, they see abandoned buildings, blah blah. I mean, it's people working on these buildings. I mean, I'm working on one right now. But you know, it's a progress. But the thing is man, that's why Gary happened. It's Gary. The older people say it was thriving in the 70s and the 80s. Then the steel mills, a couple of them closed, and businesses closed because it would provide. People have a slave mindset. Black people in America have a slave mindset. They think a job is gonna save them forever and ever. Like, it's they wanna be, just because it's hard to start a business. People are programmed by their parents to be workers. They see their parents be workers, so they be a worker. Like, I saw my grandfather and my grandmother running a business, so the concept is not foreign to me. That's what I saw. And a lot of times people, they only do what they've seen their parents do. Trying to go outside what their parents did, it's kind of hard for people. It kind of goes into development. I talked about, many a times about the cat that had kittens, the female cat that had got hit by a car and she was paralyzed, and her kittens was healthy, normal kittens, but because they saw their mom walk around limping, they start limping. That's just the cognitive development of the mind that people, they kind of, what I'm trying to tell you is that people get brainwashed by their parents. Your parents brainwash you to a certain extent because you follow what they do, and in your mind, it's hard for you to get out of that mindset. That's why a lot of times people are quote unquote middle class. People tend to share the same class that their parents were. So if your parents were middle class, you most likely are going to stay within that realm because that's all you're comfortable with. That's all you know. Going, you might go slightly higher, you might go slightly lower, because that's where you're programmed to be. Like, you saw your parents do it, then you find out how to do it, maybe. Then you, most of the time, you probably realize they made it look easy because it's not that easy, right? But going higher is like almost inconceivable because you didn't see them, you didn't live that life. So that, how do you get past that is, you have to try to, like, really, to be honest, you're supposed to have friends that are in that realm or striving to be in that realm, and then, or other people that are quote unquote your understudies that you learn from, so you can get in that realm, because that's what your parents did. Your parents taught you to be middle class, and they meant well from it, or they taught you to be poor. Like, it's the same thing with people in poverty. Their parents taught them how to be in poverty, and they might do it better than them, but they taught them how to be where they are, and like I say, the way to get out of that is to understudy people that are on a higher spectrum of things, people that are, kind of where you want to be. I just reposted a meme that I made a couple years ago. You can choose whatever class you want to be in. You can have a seat, you can sit down and have a seat. You don't have to be like, a lot of times, I was listening to some Generation Z talking on TikTok, and they have all of these little roadblocks in their heads, and you listen to this shit, and it's like they have this thing where they really, really, like, you thought millennials hate rich people. Gen Z wants they despise them with a passion. They really, man, it was like, you know, and it's like, they're young and they're trying to figure this shit out, and they were saying some things that it was interesting. I did I recorded a little bit of it, but yeah, they they have this despising of rich people, right? But I didn't hear any of them talk about one thing about business. In any of the conversation that I heard, I haven't heard any business concepts, anything related to business. It was just the rich, the rich, the rich. They ain't got no money. They ain't got no money. This problem, that problem, that problem. But I didn't hear anything about how you start a business. What are the ground rules for starting a business or anything? I didn't hear anything like that. And it's like, the thing is, I get it, and I talk about the unequitable distribution in this country damn near every live stream. And the thing is this: wherever you are on the spectrum, whether it be lower, obviously if you're higher, you, I don't know why you haven't gave me some of your money right now. I mean, like, you listening to me and you got all of this goddamn money. You know what I'm saying? Holler at a player, man. But the thing is this: when it comes down to it, the concept of you going to school, trying to get a job, that's just the ground. That's just the ground floor. The thing is in order to really, really be successful and to basically have a thriving community of businesses with goods and services, the S and the B quadrant right here. That's what you do. And then in basically S, B, and I, you know, that's where you go. That's where you have this robust community, and you're thriving, and I mean, okay, if America throws bombs at it, okay, they throw bombs at it. I mean, it's going to be harder for them to do that. I know people have the fear of Tulsa, Oklahoma or whatever, but nah, you don't have to worry about that shit, man. You just gotta, you can't have fears like that. I know it's a fear of having wealth and being rich and being successful, because you doing that, you black in America, yeah, you gonna get looks. I do get looks every now and again. I'm not gonna lie, I talk about that. I get looks, because technically the way the system works is you're not supposed to have that shit. The way the propaganda works and the brainwashing works, you basically supposed to be in system D, right? You're supposed to be in system D and unemployed. That's the way the brain. That's if the brainwashing and the propaganda effectiveness is supposed to put you all the way to the left, and then at the very least, a low wage employee. So when they see a black person, living good, dressing good, driving good, yeah, it just you will get looks, you will get certain treatments, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? And in order to, the high class mindset is not giving a fuck. Definitely that's part of it. They ain't even high class. I mean, it's people in the hood, people in the ghetto that don't give a fuck either. They have the same mindset. So no matter what, not caring about what people think is essential, because it's like, yeah, being people gonna hate on you whether you poor in the hood or you rich in the fucking mansions in the suburbs. They're gonna hate on you. So it's unescapable. Like, that's the human condition of living around animals that have two legs and shoes on, walking down the street. Like, that's just what you got to deal with. So that's just how that goes. But back to the NBA, basically what I see is a lot of entitlement. You got these people that's got these high paid contracts, and I don't know if that's, necessarily sustainable. I don't necessarily know if they gonna continue paying them people that money, because if it's a continuous rating drop, and then you got all of these people not sticking no defense, they playing. It's kind of like, to me, what I'm saying is, and I've noticed this years ago, and I've complained about this like years ago. They playing like they in a gym at the Y, playing varsity. We used to play. When we was coming up, we used to play a game called varsity, where it was basically half court, and it was like every man for themselves. Like, it was like whoever can shoot the ball. If you made the basket, then you just pass it back to anybody or whatever. Some people played it, different. Some people played it where it was you pass the ball to, I mean, basically, you if you hit the basket, they would give you the ball back, and then someone will probably, get on you then, because stick you or whatever, as far as put some defense on you. And if you kept hitting it, they get a ball back to you. And then sometimes people play varsity where you hit the shot, and then you have to hit you have to go behind the 3-point line, and hit a shot. And then you could keep hitting it, as long as you keep hitting, but if you miss, whoever got the rebound, then they would do the same process, and that was varsity, right? And that's kind of what I see in the NBA. They playing like rec ball. I see a lot of teams, and they don't really have any superstars or any stars. They have, really, to be honest, because I'm a stats guy. I do watch a lot of sports and stuff, but a lot of these teams, a lot of these players. One of the things about the NBA has very few stars, bona fide stars, and as far as the play of basketball, yeah, it's like they playing rec ball. So yeah, it's it's a digression of the sport. It's like you watching people playing rec ball. You can go to the nearest recreation center and play rec ball. So yeah, it's tripped out, man. I don't know. The NFL has took a lot of the viewership, because the NFL is very, very competitive now. A lot of people getting injured. I shoot Jalen Hurts. I wasn't watching the NFL, because I was doing something else. But one of the things I noticed this year, a lot of injuries in the NFL. But NFL is a rough sport, man. It's a rough sport, man. You get injured anytime, any play. You can get injured off a blown play in the NFL and be out for a whole season. A blown play. It was people that got injured in the preseason, you know, exhibition game. So it's like, yeah, man. I had no idea that the Philadelphia Eagles was gonna lose the game to the Washington Commanders. Like, they just took the quarterback got injured. That was all it took. Jalen Hurts was very much part of why the Eagles are a winning team, right? he got out the game. Shoot, that was it. He's a big part of why they were winning. So it's like, yeah, just one little thing like that, one big thing like that, could turn the whole game around, the whole team around. But the thing is yeah, the NFL is they don't have the ability to play no rec ball. Like them dudes is gunning for you. The defense is gunning. Uh, it's competitive. The NBA it's like a bunch of teams. It just look like they just playing rec ball, pickup games and shit at the Y. And it's like, yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm not hating on these young guys. I it was it, you know it's it used to be very competitive, man. The NBA used to be very competitive. To make it in the NBA was like a big deal, man. It was very, very competitive. And a lot of the players that made it to the NBA, they weren't necessarily the best players. They just fit in the NBA system well, and they played the system well, and they were coachable, and a lot of different things. And it's like, yeah, you see now where these people are I guess maybe they too cookie cutter. They got all these cookie cutter players where they trying to fit them into this system, and this system ain't what it used to be. And it just got a bunch of guys playing rec ball, and it's like that. Yeah, I don't know. Me, that ain't none of my business. I do sports bet, but it's like, yeah, the NBA is kind of complicated. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, kind of complicated to bet on because these players are not consistent, and it's like, yeah, they just playing rec ball, and they don't play a lot of times. It's a lot going on, man. It's a lot of moving parts, man, to the NBA. You got these young players, they simps. You got Zion Williamson. He overweight, getting fat, eating cheeseburgers and shit. And you think to yourself, it's like, he might be the next Robert Traylor. If you know anything about Robert Traylor, like, or Taylor or whatever, player, he came out of Arkansas. He was a big boy, and he was a beast amongst men in college. And then when he got to the NBA, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. And you see Zion, getting all these injuries, then falling in lust with strippers and porn stars, making babies with them. And you see, like, like, basically, um this dude this dude got a lot of weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like these things are distractions. And then all you do as a sports bettor is just put this motherfucker under. That's all. You don't think nothing of it. Just businesses. This person most likely is just another under guy. Put him under. Like, if I'd have put Jalen Hurts under, it'd just been another leg on a parlay that I would have won. But I had no, Jalen Hurts to me was like a superstar. So I had no idea he was gonna get injured. But yeah, it's big business, man. Sports, man, it's big business, buddy. Big business. But yeah, the NBA, man, it's kind of complicated, man. Kind of complicated. I hope they get it together. David Stern, when he died, David Stern, he was, hold things together. But it looked like this new Jew dude, he ain't really holding shit down like David Stern was. I guess they might have to get a new guy, a new Jew guy or something to hold down the NBA because he don't seem like he holding that shit down. Um, so dude look like that one of them vampires from what's dude name? I forgot dude name actually, but he looked like one of the vampires from the old vampire. You seen them old vampire films? The new NBA commissioner. He looked just like one of them dudes, man, from the old vampire, one of the original vampire movies. I did a side by side picture. Looked just like one of them motherfuckers, man. The old original vampire movie. But you know, these people are very, very powerful, man. They very, very powerful. They got a lot of money, a lot of resources. Cause like once you get the money, the power, you can get the power. You know, the power. I ain't gonna say it comes easy, but shit, a lot of stuff is controlled through economic, means, right? It's a lot of economic control, you know. I mean, what do you need? Jobs, right? You need jobs, right? A lot of people want jobs and they only complain when they can't get jobs, right? Well, you need a job. Why do you need a job? Because you need money. Because you don't have any money. And one of the reasons why a lot of black people don't have money because they don't have any businesses. You know, the reason why they need jobs and don't have any jobs and have to go to others to get jobs is because they don't have enough black people that have businesses to hire other black people. It's just that simple. It's just like a cluster. It's like a problem that has to be addressed. And if it's not addressed, it's not gonna go away. That's another reason why businesses are important. Not only do they provide goods and services, they provide jobs to that community. Those jobs give people the financial resources they need to pay for rent, pay for a mortgage, pay for cars, pay for other goods and services, right? Goods and needs. I guess you could say goods, services, and needs, right? So a need is housing. How do you pay for housing? Money from a job or working at a business or having a business yourself, running it, making the money from that, right? You know, healthcare. How do you pay for healthcare? The money from jobs, the money from having a business yourself, the capital that you make from working for running a business. So yeah, though the one essential part of businesses is to provide jobs. Gary, Indiana is what it is because doesn't have the businesses, doesn't have the jobs to offer to the people to be able to make any money to sustain themselves. It's the same song and dance you could say anywhere in America where there's not enough businesses and thriving businesses, right? For the people to have the goods and services they need. That's where business commerce comes in, or business organizations like the Black Chamber of Commerce, stuff like that, because you meet and have a meeting and you discuss, okay, what businesses is needed, what are the business opportunities, because wherever there's a need, there's an opportunity, right? There's an opportunity to make money. So if you don't have whatever, it's no competition. So if you have a thriving business, a successful business system, you'll make money because you won't have any competition. Of course, you're gonna need security. You know, it's things that you're gonna have to deal with, but it's a system for that. Okay, that's the Arabs. They have a business system for dealing with the hood. That's why they in the hood. Indians, Koreans, Chinese, they're in the hood. They have a system on how to make money in the hood. Okay, so if they can do it, you you know you can definitely do it. Being African American, whatever you want to call yourself, Indian American, whatever, Indigenous American, you can pretty much run the same system, if not better, because the people that live in that same neighborhood, they look like you. So it's a lot involved, but it's that simple. But I know it's the brainwashing is severe. One of the things that I realized being in my 40s, how much people are actually brainwashed, and it's a lot of people that are brainwashed. And getting through to the massive amounts of people that are brainwashed is very, very difficult. But again, I'm not worried about it. I'm not concerned about people being brainwashed. I do not care about people being brainwashed. Trust and believe. It's more opportunity for me. That's literally just, it just is what it is. I mean, I get brainwashed too. To be honest, I got I gotta check myself sometimes. Like, man, I'm brainwashed too, man. Where am I brainwashed at? You know. But yeah, a lot of that struggle comes crash outs. People crashing out. They can't get no job. They struggling. The independent lifestyles not working because a lot of financial problems, right? It goes into relationship problems. You at the bottom, you know, that that brings forth problems with relationships. A lot of people never talk about that. They always talk about relationship issues, but they never talk about why there are relationship issues. One of the reasons why there's relationship issues, one of the things that I found out by tying in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and just basically the class structure, basically poor, middle class, working class, upper class, is that one of the things that I found out was a long time ago was there is a direct correlation with being on the bottom financially and struggles for relationships. I found that out. And once I found that out, pretty much that was all I needed to know to realize why people are having so many problems with relationships. But I'm gonna let you guys go. Hopefully this discussion is giving people some information that they, you know, can use to kind of start this week off with a bang. Talk to you on the next one.